Good Friday afternoon. This is Michael Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. I want to update you kind of on the snowfall from last night and then what the better event looks to be tomorrow afternoon. Here's a look at Coco Ra's observations. These are, myself included, are trained spotters that observe, rain, hail, snow, all different precipitations. This actually goes into climatology, but at any rate, you can kind of see where the swath of snow cut through. Indiana, mostly I-74 and south, were the heavier amounts. The heaviest amount that any CoCoRaHS observer had was down in southwestern Indiana, where they picked up 5.8 inches of snow last night. Closer to home, here in north, my observation in far north Anderson, up at Hartman Road, Madison, was 1.1 inches of snow. There was another observer in Anderson. For some reason, our Madison County observers didn't really report anything. That observer only did the liquid amount, but the liquid amount was actually slightly heavier than what I observed. I picked my melted snow core, if I could do this right, was 0.6 or zero point 0.06. Theirs was 0.07, so I would assume they had a touch more snow down farther down into Anderson. Southern Madison County probably picked up about an inch and a half of snow, which would be kind of in line with what was observed in southern Hamilton County. So that system obviously was underwhelming. Underwhelming for us. It tracked farther to the southwest. So we turn our attention then to our next system, which will begin to arrive tomorrow morning. So I'll give you some timing here. This is from the high resolution rapid refresh model, HRRR. This is around 11 a.m. tomorrow. It has the nose of the snow beginning to move into Madison County. This could happen a touch sooner, but that's this model's general idea. And then by the time we are getting into noon, 1 o'clock, we could be seeing heavier snowfall amounts, and the snow would begin to pile up pretty quickly. You can see that this has most of the snowfall occurring basically from north of Bloomington on up into northern Indiana, and this might be just a touch farther south than what the HRRR has. And then the snowfall, then as the front begins to press in and the low pressure begins to track off to our southwest, that snow shield begins to move south also. But we'll still have decent snow going on. This is 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. The snow begins to break up a little bit. 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and then 10 p.m. So this is somewhere around a 10 to 12 hour snow event. There may actually be snowfall going on even after what the model has, just because there's some very frigid air that's moving in. And a lot of times what happens is that frigid air will find any moisture that the models actually don't even see and will squeeze that out of the atmosphere as well. So I'll show you what a little bit of the data has and what my forecast is, and then but whatever any of us forecast, this has the potential, and I say potential, to actually overachieve it. I would expect a winter storm watch to come out at some point this afternoon, and as this gets closer and we get into the evening or into the early morning, or probably the overnight, really, it may go to a winter storm warning for much of central Indiana. So just keep that in mind. Behind it, there won't be a lot of wind when the snow is occurring, but once that Arctic front presses through, winds will kick up, wind chills will be brutal, and snow will be blowing across open roads, especially the north south roads. So travel will be treacherous. So keep that in mind for church on Sunday. It may be difficult to get there because of the winds and the frigid temperatures and roads potentially drifting and icing. So much like I did last night, I'll just zip you through the different model outcomes for total snowfall because there are some slight variations. For instance, this is European. It runs the heaviest track of snow just our south, but still has Madison County picking up anywhere from 3 to 4 inches of snow. Here's the GFS. It's a little bit farther north with the heaviest band of snow, still puts it right along the I-70 corridor, maybe a little north and south of it because it's on an angle. again, has Madison County picking up somewhere around 4 inches. Here's the high resolution rapid refresh that I just showed you the timing on. It's farther north with the heaviest snow band. It begins to taper it off, which might be the case because we'll be toward the bottom of the trough. But at any rate, it still has Madison County picking up 5 inches of snow with some 6 inch amounts out to our west. Here's the icon model, 4 inches across Madison County. The NAM model, again, right around 4 inches north, 5 inches south for Madison County. The NAM 3K, a little less aggressive, but still has, Madison County picking up around 4 inches of snow, 3 to 4. And then the RRFS model, which actually has been pretty stingy with these previous systems, that's putting down, again, a 5 to 6 inch snowfall. So some of the higher resolution data is actually farther north with the heavier snow band and is more aggressive with the heavier snow band. So that's kind of what the model data has. So I'll show you what my forecast is, and then we'll talk about temperatures real quick. So here's what I've done with this, and I've got some overlap in it. You notice over here, I've got 1 to 3, then 2 to 4, then 3 to 6. I put some overlap in there to account for wiggle room north and south. So as we look at this, I think the heaviest snow band is going to run, either side of that I-74 corridor as it comes across. I have Madison County in a 3 to 6 inch snowfall, and again, that accounts for some wiggle room if pardon me, if the heavier snow band shifts south, we're still in a 2 to 4. So I think Madison County, really for us, I would say 3 to 5 inches tomorrow is what I'm expecting from Madison County. But you can see this again, this general heavier swath. The purple is a 3 to 6 inch band. I think within that purple band, we could see winter storm warnings go up. We'll probably see some winter storm watches here in a little bit. And then as you get farther south, then the snow amounts taper off. So the kind of the darker blue is a 2 to 4 band. The lighter blue is 1 to 3. And then, of course, the grays down here is less than 1. So again, like I said, I put some overlap in these because of potential for a little bit of shift north or south. And again, for Madison County, I think, Madison, Tipton, Hamilton counties, Delaware County, probably Henry County, I think we're all looking at a 3 to 5 inch snowfall. But overachievement is very possible, again, because that frigid air will, one, the snow will be fluffier, and two, it will be, the atmosphere will be squeezed of almost every bit of moisture that this system can squeeze out of it. So as that snow begins to taper, our high temperature tomorrow will occur in the overnight hours tonight. Much of the day tomorrow will be falling through the lower 20s and then through the teens. By the time we reach the evening, as the snow's beginning to dissipate, temperatures will be down into the single digits. And then especially with the snow packed down, I think some of the model data is too warm. With the snow packed down, I think we're going to be looking at lows anywhere between 0 to 5 below. So, and that's Sunday morning. And then we'll take a look at the wind chills real quick, because that's going to be even more brutal. Check out the wind chills here, minus 23 at Muncie. So we're looking at wind chills frequently in the minus 10 to minus 20 range, but potentially even colder at times. So it's going to be brutally cold Sunday morning behind this snow system. Actually, by Sunday evening or Saturday evening, behind the snow system, but by Sunday morning, it's going to be brutally cold. Dry powdery snow is going to be blowing across, roads that are exposed to the wind. So travel can still be treacherous. You might even run into an occasional, brief whiteout. So be very careful if you have to be out Sunday morning. I wouldn't go out Sunday if you don't have to, but if you have to be out Sunday morning, give yourself extra time and be very cautious, and make sure you have a way to communicate with other people. Make sure you don't forget your cell phone or anything like that, so that you don't end up out in these frigid temperatures, because the cold is going to be the biggest, most impactful thing. So my battery's about to run out on this, so I need to cut this off. But I will update you if anything changes. This is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Please support this page financially if you can. If you do, thank you so much. If the page sponsors, thank you also very much as well.